Hello, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Gem Drafter. Uh, sorry we're a little bit late with the episode. Payson had some stuff going on. I had some stuff going on last week, and to be quite honest, I don't know if I can do it without Payson. He's an integral part of the team. What's
Key
going on?
participant now. I'm like, what, like 5 episodes in now?
Got to be around there, 5 or 6.
Yeah. Look at that. I'm like a regular.
Some would say a regular. So I wanted to
Some would
start
say.
off on a sad note. Everyone knows at this point, unfortunately, we're recording this on Sunday. Yesterday, Mr. Dwayne Haskins passed away. Rest in peace. Uh, Apparently, he was jogging or walking on a highway and got hit by a car and passed away. And it's just really sad and unfortunate. And 24 years old, man, just way too young. I was
Yeah.
like, I was looking at his birth date, and it just like shocked me that I'm much older than him. I'm gonna be 33 this year. Like my sister was born even in 93. I was like, geez, like just terrible, terrible.
Yeah. Not much to say on that. It's sad news. Feel bad for Haskins and his family, the whole Haskins family. Um, you know, way too soon.
I just want to say one thing to lighten it up a little bit, not to diminish anything about Dwayne Haskins or his life, but someone in one of my leagues was trying to drop him, which I understand. And he accidentally put him on the trade block, and everyone jumped on him right away, like Schefter
Oh,
style, like,
gosh.
what the hell,
Yeah.
dude? And he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So I just
Yeah.
uh be careful, guys. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You will get jumped on.
yeah, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, for sure. You will be missed for sure. But today on the podcast, we want to talk about a lot of these wide receivers have been getting contracts this year in the offseason, and there are even a few that are still waiting for their contract that I left off the header. I have it labeled here as receivers getting contracts, and a few guys waiting, and I forgot to mention a few, but we'll talk about them. So the first one I want to talk about is Stephon Diggs. I know a lot of these are like kind of older news. Like we'll talk about DJ Moore, which is really old now, but Stephon Diggs, 4 year, $104 million. So he's tied to Josh Allen through 2027. Payson, does this change anything about the dynasty value of Stephon Diggs for you?
I think it doesn't change the value, but it stabilizes the future. Like I'm not moving him up the ranks, but I think the idea that he's going to move down next year or down the year after that, I think that's kind of out now. I think with Allen, it's worth holding on to Diggs, and I probably would be holding on to Diggs for the next 3, 4 years. And, one of those receivers that can die on your team. Bad reference.
Yeah, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's 28 and a half years old right now, and while he is a speed guy, he also wins with technique and route running. So like people like to say that skill set ages well. So hopefully the speed ages well for him also, and just being tied to that superstar quarterback probably helps. I currently have him at wide receiver 14 in my dynasty rankings, which when I say it out loud, it sounds low, but I mean, there's just so many other good wide receivers out there. And, I'm a Jerry Judy fanboy. Um,
Yeah.
s- so
So
I want to do a little bit of either or with Diggs. Would you take, because this guy is actually right in front of Diggs in my rankings, and I want to know if I should have him behind him. Diggs or Tyreek Hill?
I think I'm going Diggs because of Tua.
Interesting.
Tua versus Allen feels like got to go Diggs.
Yeah, and like obviously pre-trade when Tyreek was still in Kansas City, it was Tyreek all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tyreek is only like a few months younger than Stephon Diggs. Next one, Diggs or Deontay Johnson.
So I'm not a Deontay guy. So I'm like definitely Diggs on this, but it makes me feel like I should probably go by Diggs because I think a lot of people are going to say Deontay. Like there aren't a lot of Deontay stands out there.
I'm on the dig side as well. I just like Claypool for some reason. So I have Deontay Johnson. Like, I mean, I had to take a breath there because like I feel like I'm gonna get jumped on for this, like saying that I think Claypool has like a higher upside than Deontay Johnson. So that's why I would almost rather have Claypool at his price than
Yeah,
than Johnson.
I feel like I'm right there with you. The Deontay like got a ton of targets. I don't think he's going to continue getting targets the way he was. I've heard on different podcasts people say like, well, he got targeted, hyper targeted in college. Like he always draws targets because he's good. But I feel like that was a lot more of like Big Ben being like done and short arming it, and he can only throw so far, and he's going to throw the slot guy.
Oh, so you're saying Deontay is gonna be like a slot guy?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
more short intermediate routes. And so then that favored how Big Ben was playing towards the end of his career. I feel like Big Ben couldn't get the ball down to Claypool, so they had just Claypool running like fly routes and go routes, and he just wasn't going to throw it that far.
I think with Trubisky and how he's a little bit more athletic, they're gonna get a little bit more creative with Claypool like they were in his rookie year. But
Yeah,
moving on to the next one, Stephon Diggs or T. Higgins. And I know T. Higgins is kind of your boy.
kind of my boy, but also I'm still going Diggs here,
Wow.
and it makes me feel like I probably just need to go buy Diggs. I don't know if I'm Diggs right now. Say last year was
I
kind of a down year for Diggs.
and he was like wide receiver 7, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, but everybody in their minds like, Diggs, whatever.
Diggs is that type of player that I feel like some of the times he's consistent, but like he's also still capable of those big blow up weeks. I actually have Diggs and Higgins back to back with Diggs one spot ahead, but I'm actually reevaluating that position because excuse me, I got into a little bit of a value battle argument type thing with one of the dudes in our leagues, and he was arguing for Chris Godwin, and you know that the whole like I have Chris Godwin all the way up here at 10, but I have and then he's teammates with Mike Evans, and like if Brady can support Evans and Godwin, why can't Burrow support Chase and T. Higgins? I don't know how I forgot T. Higgins for a split second there. The main guy I was talking about as like top 10 fantasy wide receivers. So by that theory, like I should I should really have T. Higgins higher than Diggs, honestly. I think if that's something
Yeah.
that I'm thinking about.
Where do you have Godwin relative to Diggs and Higgins?
I've got one at 10,
And what are Diggs and Higgins?
14, 15.
Oh yeah, I'm Godwin more like probably 17 or 18. He's
I
hurt
thought
right
you were
now.
Godwin high.
I am, but I feel like you're really high.
Uh, I
Like
guess I'm high because of
one
the
year of Brady, and then what?
yeah, I understand that, but I have Godwin above Cup, Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs because he's 2, 3 years younger than all those guys, and he's in my opinion, the skill set is just as good. It's just the quarterback question and coming back from the
Yeah,
ACL.
yeah. I think you gotta put Higgins above Godwin, and then if your Diggs over Higgins, then you gotta have Higgins and Diggs above Godwin.
I think you're right there. I think you're on point with because like if I'm making the age argument, Higgins is 3 years younger than Godwin,
Yeah,
but God, just the speed and I mean, Higgins has the size, but like Godwin is got the speed. Higgins not a speed guy. He's
yeah.
a technique, guy. Anyway, last one, Diggs or Devonta Smith. It's probably easy for you.
Easy Diggs. I think there's probably like a first in difference there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So I need to go buy Diggs. Yeah, I need to go buy Diggs.
I don't have any, so you won't be coming to my inbox.
We can't do a live trade.
Not on that one at least. I don't have any of this next guy either. Brandon Cooks signed a 2-year extension with the Texans for $39.6 million, with $36 million guaranteed. And so, same question: does this change anything about Cooks for you as far as dynasty value?
I don't know. It's so weird because I don't think he's good enough to be like a stud. Like he's not a wide receiver you count on. He's more like your wide receiver 3, 4, and maybe he produces more like a wide receiver 2, but still on your dynasty team he's a 3 or 4. And I feel like I want my 3 or 4 to be younger. So it's almost like he has like no value to my team, and I'd rather take anybody else around him.
How old is Brandon Cooks? Is I think the same age as Stephon Diggs, 28.6. And I
And
know
then
he's not
tied
tied to
to
the elite.
Davis Mills. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tied to Baker Mayfield.
So,
I'm
I
trying to
heard I
pull up.
heard something terrible on a podcast today. Gardner Minshew is better than Baker Mayfield, like from a talent
No,
perspective.
sorry, that's not
I don't
true.
know.
That's a garbage take.
It's not true. You're trying to make me feel better.
No, I'm not just trying to make you feel better. That's a bad take, in my opinion. Let's see. Last
Still scrolling
year,
through Keep Trade Cut. Where is this Brandon Cooks?
Cooks was a wide receiver 20 last year in total points, but in points per game, he was 24. But there's a bunch of ties in there.
So like
And
right at that 2, 3.
going back to oh frick, this has it in the postseason. Never mind. That might be completely wrong. What I just said. But I believe Cooks. Okay, so let's go back to 2017 fantasy points per game. That's too far back, I think. Cooks was wide receiver 22 in fantasy points per game in a year that was not good. You want to know what his average points per game was that year? And he was wide receiver 22.
Yeah.
5.2 points per game.
What? What? No.
Maybe it switches on
No.
me to postseason. All right, disregard everything I'm saying. Stop listening to this podcast. I'll talk to you next week.
Oh,
Uh,
perfect. Finally, we can have the real podcast. You just let it keep recording. It'll just be me. It'll be improved.
I want to say the reason why I'm trying to look this up though is I want to say Cooks has had some wide receiver 1 seasons. But this fantasy data website, every time I click, it goes back to postseason every time I change the year. That's why I keep messing up. But anyway, I had previously written Cooks off pretty much with that situation and the Watson thing and like him almost being 29, a little bit of ageism, but I don't know when like just the same thing I was talking about with Higgins when I reevaluated, I think like, man, maybe like on a win now roster, Cooks, like you said, is not too bad to have as your wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's not, but it's like he's not going to increase in value. He's not going to have. I don't think now he can have a wide receiver season. I think that's like over. He might have some wide receiver 1 weeks, but like on the year from the Texans, unless Davis Mill is the GOAT. But I think Davis Mills or Brandon Cooks, you got to go with Davis Mills, then, right?
Davis Mills or Brandon Cooks? I don't want either.
He said no. He
Let's
said
do
no.
some real either ors here in the wide receiver category. Because like the reason why I don't want Davis Mills is because I wouldn't be that far down at quarterback. Like I would be either no quarterback, completely blown up, trading camp style, or If Davis Mills is on my team, he's on my team for 24 hours. He's out of here. After that. Anyway, either or guys here. Cooks or I should say. Cooks are 203 in Superflex tight end premium.
Give me 203. Give me like 203, which turns into call it George Pickens or Christian Watson or Sky Moore. Any one of those three, kind of around that range.
I'm right there with you. Some in one of my 12 team Superflex, 2 tight end and tight end premium leagues, someone was trying to give me Calvin Ridley for 203. I was like,
That's
you know,
aggressive. I'm not paying a
I
third.
said I don't even know if they're gonna Pete Rose his ass, dude. Like, and just
Yeah.
keep
I
putting him off.
what's he worth now? Like maybe a third round pick, but nobody's gonna accept a third round pick.
He's worth nothing to me. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared
Zero.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Cooks or Gabe Davis. I think this is more close.
That is close to me, and I feel like I'm probably wrong now because I think I'm the only one that's in the Gabe Davis camp. It's like after the 4 touchdown game, the playoffs, everybody's supposed to be like way too high on Gabe Davis, and now everybody went like the opposite way. Like maybe they draft someone, or maybe it's more likely they draft someone, but still, like wide receiver 2 right now on Josh Allen's offense feels like Gabe Davis is young, could be taken over for Diggs. I don't know. I think I like
I
Gabe
am on the
Davis.
Gabe Davis side, but I am scared they're gonna draft like a Jamison Williams or something like that in the late first round just to try to compete in that division.
Yeah, this feels like, and there are a lot of situations like this. I'm willing to pay a lot more for Gabe Davis, right after the draft if they don't draft somebody. And then if they do draft somebody, I'm still willing to pay for Gabe Davis, but I'm going to pay less than I pay now. I'd rather not take the risk.
Cooks or Michael Thomas.
Feels like you got to go Thomas because there's like the off chance that he is like a top 5 wide receiver again, however unlikely. And it's Jameis Winston who is going to throw bombs, or Andy Dalton who's going to throw bombs, or at least lock on to him. So I got to go Michael Thomas there too.
This is a good time to bring up that I was trying to find the Roto World to snip it into the sheet for the Eagles and Saints trade. So a good time to just quickly bring that up. So Eagles send 16 and 19 to the Saints. So do you think that puts the Saints, in a spot to draft a wide receiver in the first round? Because they have a good defense and they got a quarterback now. I mean, a flailing,
Do
wacky,
they have a quarterback?
yeah, wacky, wailing, inflatable quarterback.
So I think everyone's going to be very surprised at how high the quarterbacks go in this draft. I think we're going to have 5 in the first 15 picks.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Everybody doesn't like them. Everybody thinks, oh, they're going to last. Like I saw a mock draft with Matt Corral going to the Lions at pick 34. Like it's not going to happen. Like it's not going to happen. Either Matt Corral is like not worth a first rounder, and then he's going like late second or something crazy like that, or he's worth a first rounder and everybody's trading up. You got to get that 5th-year option. And there's also like that prestige of I in the first round and I mint it, versus like the Jordan Love. I took a quarterback in the first round because I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like maybe the Saints are making that move because they like one of these guys or multiple of these quarterbacks, and they think at least one of them is going to get into that 16 range. So
Yeah, I wonder if they trade like 16 and 19 to move up to like the 8th pick or something like that, if their guy is still there.
yeah, I mean that's probably about the going rate to do
Yeah.
something like that. I would probably take Michael Thomas here also, even though it's scary. Just done it more times than Cooks. I know it was with Drew Brees, but just something about him we play in mostly like full PPR leagues. Cooks is more of that home run threat type of guy. Although Cooks can be that like short intermediate guy too. He's a good player in my opinion. Just uh, used more in that deep ball threat, whereas MT is kind of like that slow, methodical, move the chains wide
Yeah,
receiver.
Cook's the classic better than best ball.
Yeah, yeah, probably. So next one, last one, Cooks or A Rob.
Going A Rob here too. I feel like it's the riskier side, but A Rob being back to what I remember A Rob from back in like Jacksonville. Was it Jacksonville? Yeah.
1969.
Yeah, I think so. But I think he's very good, and I think he just didn't care last year. I'm going to choose to believe that. I don't think he's washed, and so he gets to play with my other boy, Matt Stafford. That'll go a lot better, I think. Also, like Cooper Cup's going to draw most of the coverage, so I think that helps A Rob too.
Yeah, I think just two somewhat older, risky plays. You're probably going to take the guy in the better offense.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, uh, maybe maybe A Rob's fire gets rekindled a little bit here in a Super Bowl winning and Super Bowl contending team. They're pretty much the same age. I think they're both 28.6 according to Google Sheets age formula. Yep.
Google Sheets formula. You mean your
Cooks is
formula?
1 month younger actually. Anyway, like that matters. All right, so those and we can just kind of quick hit or just skip over DJ Moore. It's like it's just kind of a great player. I actually was like debating this guy pretty hard on Twitter. Uh, excuse me about DJ Moore and how people value him as a wide receiver one, even though he's only ever a wide receiver two most of the time. But it's that consistency and the yardage, which is predictable, that kind of
Yeah,
allows him
like
to be regarded as a wide receiver one in dynasty like value wise.
locked in for like 1,100 to 1,200 yards. Maybe he gets to like 1,400, but I think he's been like locked in and also at 4 touchdowns per year. So I think that's the big problem. And I don't know when Carolina solves that. Feels like
Yeah. He's
if
like
it's
a
not
short
this year, it's
Julio.
probably not next year. Yeah, yeah. Short Julio. And it felt like we always had this opportunity to get touchdowns, whereas DJ Moore probably doesn't because it's shorter.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason why DJ Moore holds so much value is because he's still in that like I think he's just about to turn 25 or he just turned 25. So like he's ready to just like I was trying to think of some funny like dog barking analogy there. But I totally
He's ready to
blanked.
break
Idiot.
loose. He's
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna get unleashed. Um,
unleashed. There you go. That's good.
that leads to like the upside, even though I think that the like keep trade cut value, which we'll get into more when we talk about this running back situation, the upside is still there for DJ Moore and with the youth, so that's why he gets valued that way. But yeah, he got paid 3 years, 20 million, and to be locked into Sam Darnold or whoever they draft for the next 3 years, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, you're probably going to get him at a discounted rate. If you can make those points to someone that owns them that wants to sell them. I regretfully traded DJ Moore and the 201 in this class for Jalen Waddle right before the Tyreek Hill trade went down.
Hmm. I I feel like I like 201 so much. In a normal year, I think that's like fine. It's like whatever. And you probably I like Waddle's still worth more than DJ Moore. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's no risk there. It's just really like 201 is somebody like Sky Moore, George Pickens, Christian Watson. And I like the upside of all of those guys. So
as of right now, Pickens and Watson And all three of those guys all day you could get at 201 based on every single rookie mock I've been watching so far.
Yeah.
Like London's going 5, 6, 7. You can get some of those other wide receivers at that 201. Anyway, let's talk about some of these wide receivers that haven't got paid yet. First one being Terry McLaurin of the Washington Redskins. And, there's been a lot of different rumors around him. Some saying they have not made a contract offer to him yet at all. Some saying that teams are poking around trying to see what Washington would sell him for. I'm kind of hoping that they would trade McLaurin because I'm not like I used to be a Carson Wentz guy, not so much anymore after all the fresh starts that he's been having. Um,
Yeah. I think they
I,
can't trade him. Like they can't trade McLaurin because they paid too much for Carson Wentz. If they had paid less for Wentz, like if they paid like the fifth or whatever that maybe Wentz was worth instead of like a second and a third, I think that's what the trade was. Like it much easier to trade McLaurin and say we're like kind of rebuilding, but we needed somebody versus paying a lot for Wentz. It's like we think we're competing. We can't lose our best wide receiver and really best offensive weapon.
I see. I don't think it's like out of the realm of possibility for like the Packers were willing to pay Devontae Adams. Like, why can't they go give that pick number 29 or 30, whatever it is, for Terry McLaurin, pay him less than Devontae Adams was going to get because he's less
Yeah.
accomplished. He's probably close to as good as Devontae Adams, like on the field. Like he's really good, faster than Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So then you like
Close
you
to as
make that
good.
you make that step down and you get a second round pick on top of it, pay him less. Washington still gets a first round pick. They get a fresh wide receiver on a fresh rookie contract. I mean, maybe the Packers should just take the fresh rookie
Yeah.
contract wide receiver, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
just don't see why like a move like that can't be made.
Yeah. I wonder how the NFL views Terry McLaurin. Like, he's not a Devonte Adams type, like he's not going to take over the game. I don't think. And I think that's what people want from like the classic wide receiver one. Like
I
the
could see that,
the
but
contested catch.
I I think he could get there. I really do. I think Terry McLaurin's really good. I just think he's never had a good quarterback ever. Like Adams has had Rodgers his whole career. Now it's the
Yeah.
Derek Carr experiment, which is probably going to go just fine because Adams is so well developed now. And I'm not trying to take away from Devontae Adams. Obviously, he's freaking sick, and I'm a Packers fan,
Sounds
lifelong
sounds
Packers
like you
fan.
hate Devonte Adams. It sounds like you just
I
think they're
hate you
better
for
off
leaving
without
this
him.
son of a gun. You're dead to me. Uh, Unless someone wants to trade you to me for 107, then I'll take you.
Is
Uh,
that the going rate?
no, it's at least 102. Like no one smart's
Really?
going less than 102. I tried in Heroes and Villains, and he was like 102 or get out of my face.
I think I got to trade some Devonte Adams then.
I mean, I'm not saying you could get 102 for him. I'm saying that's what people want for him.
Hmm.
Probably
Yeah,
closer to
I think.
104.
Which league do I have him in? I'm trying to get a live trade going with you again. There he is.
Oh,
It's with Boots. It's the podcast league.
oh yeah. I've got too many wide receivers in there. You want to give me
Uh,
Devontae and a first for AJ Brown?
oh, oh, you have 101 in that league.
Yeah, I got it from you.
Yeah. So you like 101 for Adams plus.
No, man, because look at my team. I got Lamb, AJ Brown, Cooper, Jerry Judy, Michael Thomas, Gabe Davis. And all I have is Barkley at running back and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's why I was
Yeah.
trying. Okay, speaking of that league, I was trying to trade with TJ. TJ and Nipples both offered me, like TJ offered me 103 straight up for AJ Brown, and Nipples offered me 104 straight up for AJ Brown. And I was like, I countered 104 and 111 from dude, and he was like, I can't. It's like I'm trying to have more depth. And I countered with 23 first added on from TJ, and he was like, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
And then so TJ wanted to do 103 and Rojo for AJ Brown, and I was like,
No.
I just
No.
can't do it, man. Can't do it.
Yeah. No.
Even though, like, worst case scenario,
It's
the
like a
wide receiver
spot
I
where
get at
he's
103.
worth 2 firsts.
Oh yeah, AJ Brown
Yeah. Yeah, he's
at
worth two
least.
firsts. But like no one's paying 2 firsts. Everybody like wants to get the Chris Godwin type price, which is like a mid first.
Yeah, yeah. Which was like that dude's whole argument
Yeah.
was for the Godwin thing. Like Godwin's been a top 5 guy, and AJ Brown's never been a top 5 guy, and he's got injuries.
Yeah.
Then he tried saying AJ Brown has degenerative knee, like Todd Gurley, and I was like, that ACLs are in the knee, right? Like Godwin just had an ACL, that's in your knee. I know AJ Brown just had knee surgery, but it was a
Yeah.
cleanup. Anyway, back to Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin or Juju?
McLaurin. Yeah. I think that's a pretty firm McLaurin to me. But like saying that, I feel like a lot of people prefer Juju, especially Juju's opportunity with the Chiefs. But I think it's still McLaurin pretty easily McLaurin to me.
Yeah, it's funny. McLaurin's 1 year older than Juju, and I feel like Juju's been in the league like 2 years longer than him.
Yeah.
And then I put on here because like I'm super high on Jerry Judy, but like shout out to the anti fan Benny D98, not Benny Raiders. he
The
said
other
he
Benny.
said yeah, when we did that live trade, yeah, the other Benny, not the real Benny. Uh when we made that live
What are you
trade,
going to be upset about this?
Judy for Tua, he said he would sell Judy for 112 immediately on any rosters that he had Judy. So that's kind of why I put this in the sheet. McLaurin or Judy.
Yeah, I think very easily Judy. Like Judy smashed Judy and a first, or I mean McLaurin and a first to get Judy. Said it wrong. I'm so
Yeah.
flustered. I'm so upset by this terrible idea of a trade that I said it the wrong way.
23 years old. McLaurin's 26. Tied to Russell Wilson now. Until recently, I made the mistake of not looking up Cortland Sutton's contract. He actually got extended there. I totally forgot about that. And that's why I was like,
Oh yeah, they did the. It was like the same
actually,
day. They did Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton. It was like boom, boom. I was like,
yeah,
what?
I I overlooked that. So I was like extra hyped on Judy. I was like, Sutton's gone next year. Judy's the man. Like Tim Patrick playing second fiddle. Forgot about that extension. McLaurin or Mike Evans?
This one I think depends on if you're competing. Because I think if I'm competing, I want Mike Evans. I feel like Mike Evans could have like that, 1,600 yard, 16 TD year this year, especially with the start with Godwin being kind of hurt and like the Brady just blazes on his last, well, maybe last year. I don't know. Feels like that kind of happened last year, but Mike Evans got kind of hurt. So even if you look at some of the stats last year, it's not like a full year of Mike Evans. But I think Mike Evans has a great year, and McLaurin probably doesn't have a great year. Like the ceiling isn't as high. So competing, I think I want Evans, but rebuilding or anywhere close to rebuilding, I'm taking McLaurin.
And what if Gronk decides he's just done? OJ
Don't
Howard's
even.
gone.
No, we're not talking about that. I
But
started
that's
buying into Gronk
touchdown.
coming back, and he hasn't signed. I'm getting nervous. Getting nervous. I don't know.
Where are you relying on Gronkowski? A 2 tight end league?
Yeah. Yeah. And that stupid startup that I made so many mistakes in, Big Balls Debbie. Terrible.
Oh, let's go take a look here. You didn't make that many. I thought you made mistakes in the noob one.
Ah, no, the noob one, I'm real good.
Oh,
The
getting
noob one
jiggy
is
with
like
it.
my
That's
best.
funny.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Baker Mayfield and all that. Funny. Oh yeah, Dawson Knox over whatever over
yeah.
Chubb and Barkley, right?
Shit. Was that it? I
I'm
don't want to
pretty
talk
sure.
about it. Moving on.
Anyway, yeah,
What's next
McLaurin
on the
or
show sheet?
McLaurin or Rashad Bateman.
This is like McClure and a smash to me. Like Bateman hasn't done anything. He's on a low volume offense. Bateman's like definitely facing target competition, whereas McLaurin's really not.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I think a lot good portion of the dynasty community kind of views Rashad Bateman in that like 201 range as far as value. And
Yeah,
definitely skilled player, but you're right. Mark Andrews probably getting majority of the targets there. So then
which brings
go
up
ahead.
another one: Rashad Bateman or Marquise Brown.
I think just based on like age, size, uh, I know Marquise Brown is like a four, probably a mid 4 threes guy, but I really think I would take the shot on Bateman there. I I I think I'd take the shiny new toy. I know it's probably not where you're going, but I like Bateman's talent a lot. I think he's got way better hands than Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm not a Hollywood guy, but I think a lot of people have Hollywood ahead. Like there are people that have Hollywood as like a mid first value, which is like crazy to me.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since his cousin's Antonio Brown. It's like
You're just like 1 second away from going nuts.
crazy in the family, man. It's all in the family. Just kidding. Sorry, Hollywood. I don't know. I just that offense. It's because he's in that offense, and I know Bateman's in that offense as well. But like, I just think Bateman's more the archetype of like, not to compare him skill wise, but like more that Devonte Adams like possibility to develop into that years from now, like be that
Yeah,
take over type guy. He's got the size for it, all that stuff.
yeah, I think that's right.
So there are three other major wide receivers that haven't gotten contracts. The first one that I have listed here, I didn't list the other two, but we'll just quickly touch on them. But the first one is Debo Samuel, and apparently he's in his contract year, and he pulled the Kyler Murray or the classic whatever these guys do, where they take all the team stuff off their social media. And I just think it's Debo
Yeah,
flexing a little bit, saying like, "Hey, I'm the man. Like, time to pay me." Type move. I expect them to pay him.
yeah. I just wonder, does he get good 26-year-old running back money, or does he get good 26-year-old wide receiver money? Because there's
Yeah,
like a $15 million gap between those two.
yeah. I think because he only has done it really this year, big time, that it's going to be somewhere in the middle of that, like probably closer to the 20 million, not the 30 million that like
Yeah,
Adams is getting.
feels like he's also like, I don't know. I love Debo and I love watching Debo play, but the way he plays, he's like begging for an injury, kind of like a running back.
You think they're going to say that to him in the contract negotiations? Just that you play way too aggressive, man. Like you're going to
Yeah,
get
we
hurt
need
for
you to
sure. He's going to be like,
relax a little bit, take a lot more receptions on the wide side of the field, step out of bounds, stop shoving people's faces off.
and then he's gonna be like, all right, fine, I'll do that. And then like they pay him, and he just goes off into the sunset, not producing
He
at
has
all.
like 700 yards and 2 TDs.
um. So yeah, Debo's a beast. I understand the concerns, but I don't know. I don't know. I want to see him get paid. Like he's been a darling of mine since college, as I've talked about on the podcast before. But anyway, so AJ Brown is in a contract year 2, I believe, because he was also a second round wide receiver, and DK Metcalf. So the Titans have said that AJ Brown's like pretty much staying and getting paid. It's just a matter of time. Um, are you there? Are you there with that one?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like if he went somewhere else, like, if he happened to go to, I don't know, he goes to, who's a good quarterback that doesn't have good wide receivers?
Aaron
I feel like
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. No, he's not a good quarterback. That's the problem. But I think that AJ Brown is super talented, and we're just like waiting for that year, that 1,600 yards and 16 TDs, like I mentioned for Mike Evans. Like AJ Brown could do that.
What about the Bears?
Oh God, the Bears, they're terrible.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know what they're
if they got
doing.
AJ Brown, they'd be better.
They would, but they're probably not going to throw the ball to him. They're just going to run David Montgomery up the gut.
Patriots.
They're just going to run James White up the gut.
All right, Jacksonville.
Okay, yeah. T Law. Even though they just paid all these other wide receivers, they're just going to add AJ Brown on top of it.
Yeah,
They're going
they're
to
gonna
have like
have.
120 million devoted to wide receivers.
I was gonna say 50% of their cap devoted to wide receivers.
Yeah.
And when Trevor Lawrence contract comes up, they have to trade him.
Sorry, we got to keep these wide receivers. They're more important.
There's been a lot of mixed reports about DK Metcalf. Like Pete Carroll said he wants him on the team, and then like, the Jets are going after him. I mean, I know that one Jets rumor like popped up, and
Yeah.
everyone was so hyped about it because it was right after like all the crazy trade madness, and it was like, oh my god, now Debo and DK and AJ Brown are all getting traded. Like
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's getting traded again tomorrow to the Browns. Like,
People forgot that this stuff doesn't happen in the NFL. This is like outliers, multiple outliers in a row made people think, new normal.
oh, I mean, I called it that episode. I was like, dude, they're
Yeah.
blowing the load right now, and it's gonna be radio silence, which it has
Just
been.
crazy.
Um, so what do you think? DK Seahawk or DK on the move?
I think it's probably DK Seahawk. You can't lose Wilson and DK in the same year and then like have your fans still show up to the games.
Yeah, I agree. And like, what if they hit on a? What if they, the quarterback that they target hits,
Yeah.
and it's wheels up. And if you don't have DK, that's very less likely to happen. Um, Gosh, it just came to my mind. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I just believe that Drake London is going to be a Jet. It makes me so happy. Makes me so happy.
Because then you could just be like a firm avoid.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like, even though I don't believe in him, he is growing on me a little bit. I did watch a couple like YouTube breakdowns of people like breaking him down more, but there were some inconsistencies in their points that I like. They were like, he high points the ball every single time, as I like saw him basket catching one while they're like saying that. Anyway,
Look at
I
this
think if he went,
beautiful.
yeah, if he went there, I would be higher on Elijah Moore. Honestly, I would think that his presence is enough to like free up Elijah Moore just that little bit more than he already, that he doesn't even really need, but it would just, I don't know, something about that would help me get more Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good take. Plus, I think Elijah Moore would be cheaper then too. So at value, you'd want Elijah Moore.
I actually just made a trade for Elijah Moore in a super flex league that I forgot about. I don't know if I showed you or told you about that one. I just heard like a yell from downstairs. Another murder happening in my house this week.
Another murder? Like,
Well, that one week I heard like a yell from downstairs. It was probably just her yelling at the cats. Um, I don't know what I'm doing here. I was trying to look up this trade. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I traded like Oh, it was Mike Evans and 206 for Elijah Moore and 304, something like that. It's on a rebuilding team. Like my quarterbacks are
Yeah,
T-Law and Fields.
yeah. I think that sounds good. Get a lot younger.
Any hoot. Uh, so let's move on to the next. We're done talking about these contract year wide receivers. We're going to get into something that's near and dear to Payson's heart here. And I did not intentionally put this into the show sheet to like
Yeah,
attack you. I did not. Because it's just something that's
sure.
been coming up. So I have
Yeah,
this segment labeled as Ravens backfield drama, which kind of is. Um, so there was a report that came out from Ian Rappaport that Melvin Gordon is in discussions with the Ravens about a contract, and that comes after I believe I don't have it in here, but I believe I saw a report that J.K. Dobbins is maybe not having a setback, but just like not on schedule. And then there was I don't know if this is taken out of context or not, but the Ravens GM was quoted as saying, "If the right guy falls, we will certainly strike." Uh, so
so
you,
at
you
this
know,
point, I really hope that they sign Melvin Gordon for my J.K. Dobbins shares, because if they, draft Brees Hall or draft Kenneth Walker, then I'm like done. So like
yeah,
it's over.
100%. No, I mean I don't think it's over for JK, but like it's not good. Yeah, it's not good at
Yeah,
all.
well, it's over from a production standpoint unless one of them like gets hurt. I think he can still be
Oh, one of
good.
them
Like he'll
gets
be
hurt.
productive on his touches because I think he's a
Mhm.
really good running back, but there's no like he takes over the backfield.
True.
The ceiling
Um,
outcome is gone.
you gotta wonder if Melvin Gordon's asking for too much money and if he's even gonna, get signed by the Ravens because it seems like they don't want to pay up too much. Like last year, they signed Latavius Murray and like someone else was saying like in one of my leagues they were saying don't forget about Gus Edwards, but they could cut Gus Edwards this year for 3.5 million. Like no biggie, you know.
Yeah. I wonder who's ahead, like from a returning to play standpoint, Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. Their injuries were pretty close together, so
You would
I
think
would assume
JK
that
just
J.K.'s
being
ahead.
younger
But yeah,
because I mean Dobbins 23, Gus Edwards like 27. I didn't even
he's like
realize
26.
same thing. I said that to TJ and that when I sent him the offer for AJ Brown, he was like 23 first too high. I was like, well, that's my 23 first, basically a second, which is basically a third, which is basically a fourth. So it's just a throw in.
Basically, it's not even a pick.
Yeah, yeah, it's nothing. And then I didn't like read this whole like study. I think I've seen it before, but like um basically to sum it up, it's like says like as far as ACL injuries go, 28.5% of active players only played 3 years after the injury. Um, so the other 71.5% didn't even make it 3 years, and that includes quarterbacks, excuse me, which are a little bit easier to come back from the injury. So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen to Dobbins. It's just something to think about. Something to think about with Chris Godwin too. Like
Yeah.
something to
I
think
think the
about with
bigger
any
thing is thinking
ACL.
about the other people with torn ACLs, and just remembering, like, oh, yeah, this is a serious injury, which, my wife's going through it right now. So I agree, it is a serious injury.
Yeah. How's she doing?
She's okay. A lot of pain. The first week is real tough. First, like, day one is fine because you're like on so many pain meds. But then day two, like the nerve block kind of goes away, and that's like terrible. So a lot of pain, but she's moving around. We're doing a lot of stretching, trying to get the fluid out of the knee. That's one of the big steps. So you got to be able to squish a bug with the back of your knee. You like full knee extension, and you do things called quad sets, which is like you kind of flex your quad, and that pushes your knee down. I'm doing it right now. You can't tell. But yeah, we got to work on your quad sets, and then you got to work on bending your knee.
Well, it's good she's doing well, but the burning question that everyone's wanting you to answer, is she going to be ready for week 1?
I do not think she's going to be ready for week 1. I think we're
Oh,
probably outside the window at this point. There's also some age factor here, so it might take her longer to recover.
yeah.
I mean, she is only 22, but yeah, some age factor going on. So April, I'm hoping January. January, we're running around again, but I don't know.
So it's looking like she's a candidate for a 2023 return.
Yeah,
All
2023
right.
return. Maybe if we make it to the playoffs.
Good thing is her dynasty value should sustain due to the age factor. So,
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, good to hear that she's doing better and all that stuff. I have never been through something like that, so I can't imagine. Probably sucks pretty bad.
yeah,
At least she probably didn't tear her ACL getting crushed on the knee like J.K. Dobbins did in a
yeah.
preseason
It's
NFL game.
a simpler tear.
Uh, um, so looking at I snipped out the keep trade cut dynasty rookie running back, or not rookie, excuse me, the running back dynasty rankings on keep trade cut, and it has Dobbins at 12 currently. And I mean, I'm wondering how if these are strictly off people's votes and like their algorithm, right?
Yeah.
So like
So
even with the ACL, I don't know if I would have Cook above Dobbins.
yeah, it feels like so hard to rank running backs.
Did I say Dobbins at 12? I just want to make sure
Yeah,
I clarified that for the
yeah, you said
listeners.
it. Yeah, because
Um,
it feels like the top two, which Javante officially moved ahead of Najee. That's pretty nuts.
yeah,
So
I
the top
mean,
like five are kind of locked in, but then you get to like you're old, you're old, you're young, but you haven't done anything really. You're not going to get the passes. You're probably going to get injured. That's Dalvin Cook.
I was
And then
hoping it
you're
wasn't Nick Chubb.
already injured. So I don't know. It's so hard to rank running backs. I feel like it's probably one of those things like you're better off trading down from any one of Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, because it's basically the same to go down to Saquon Barkley, Cam Akers, Derrick Henry.
That's just a outrageous ranking of ETN, in my opinion.
Too high
Just
or too low?
outrageous. Too low. No, of course not. Too high. I mean, like, I would probably like I know Kenneth Walker doesn't have a landing spot yet, but I just don't think there's any way you take. I mean, I'm not even taking. I would personally probably have Kenneth Walker right behind Brees Hall. You froze for a second there. I thought you were just giving me like the nothing.
I
You were
did
actually.
freeze. That was not my computer. That was me me freezing. I was what? Excuse me, what? Do you know
I
that
mean,
he only caught like two passes? I think that's the
yeah, but
technical
that
count.
doesn't mean
It
he
was two.
can't do it. Kevin Harris didn't catch many passes either, but when he did, he looked like a freaking animal doing it. Uh,
Oh gosh, you're so high on Kenneth Walker. You are nuts. You should
I
have him
just
everywhere
think
though.
he's gonna be. I mean, we're gonna talk more about him later when we talk about some of the trades because of the picks that are being in those. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I would just rather take the chance on most of my teams that like he's gonna develop versus the risk of McCaffrey or Mixon or Eckler getting injured, or Chubb or Cook. I don't know. I'm not taking any of those guys. I mean, I know I'm low on McCaffrey, but I'm not taking Mixon, Eckler, Chubb, or Cook over the 103.
Wow. You're also not going to need championships, I guess.
Well, I'm going to win some championships, but
You mean ones where you have those running backs?
I don't know. I guess write this down. Write this down at the the at the check back on me, whatever the hell it is, that one Twitter, the
Remind
at
me of this tweet, something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, at
Yeah.
remind me of this podcast. Uh, I just think those
Yeah.
top 2 running backs are gonna be just like I mean, look at by evidence of last year, Najee, DeAndre Swift, and Javonte Williams are 2, 3, 4. Like, and they were or well, I mean, Swift wasn't a rookie last year, but Javonte and
So that's
Najee,
the part that I think makes your argument. It's so easy for a young running back to move up because all those other running backs are like almost definitely moving down.
yeah,
It's just you like some of them are going to pop. Like whoever has the RB3 season this year is still going to be a top 5, 7, something like that running back.
yeah.
But then the other ones that fall down to a top 15 year or they get injured and they fall out of top 50 overall.
Yeah, like, I totally see the outcome of Christian McCaffrey having a 1,800-yard season and, 16, 18 touchdowns, and then obviously I'll have to come back and eat crow, and I know you're praying to the fantasy gods right
Oh,
now.
that would be so good. We
Um,
need it.
so yeah, I think based on, like I mean, I just don't think that's accurate. I don't even think that that's, like, an accurate ranking. I think most savvy dynasty players have Walker up at least, like, where Eckler is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. And they probably have Akers higher than like ETN too. Like, how is Akers lower than ETN?
I feel like Akers like should have looked better or should have not come back in the playoffs. Like it would have been better if he didn't play at all, and people could have this assumption that he's going to come back and look amazing. But when he came back, I don't think he looked very good. So I think
I,
that's why he's down there.
I thought in the first game he looked pretty good, but yeah,
Oh
then the games following that
yeah,
got kind of stuffed like a turkey.
like
Uh,
the turkey.
so, do you have anything else you want to add to the
I
Ravens
guess
backfield drama or
the
just the dynasty running backs in general?
dynasty running backs. I love Derrick Henry at that price. And I feel like I'm just gonna win all these championships with Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. I think I'm up to like 3 or 4 teams now with both of those players. Oops.
Okay, but the question is, do you have your 2023 first on those teams?
Okay, you think I'm about to lose it? It's gonna end up being 101, 102.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a trading camp Newts year where I think you're gonna win, and then all of a sudden you just hand another guy the 101.
Yeah. Thank you for that
Could
gift.
go either. I mean,
I gave it right
that's one of
back
those
though.
things. That's one of those. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of those things that's like it's on two sides. Like it's either gonna be this or it's gonna be that. Like not really. I mean, I guess it could be in between if only one of them gets injured, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, none of them get injured. Hopefully, nobody gets injured
Yep.
this year.
If there are no injuries, like top 24 running backs are where they are.
I used
It's
to
the
do
same
that in
order
Madden
even.
franchise. In Madden franchise,
But
I would turn off the injuries. I'm like, this is make believe. I don't care. This injuries are stupid. Like, I just want my guys to play all year and rack up 3,000 yards apiece, and then become
that sounds like
99
a cheat
overalls.
code.
Yep. Uh, so there were a couple moves that I didn't think really meant much, which was the first one being Devontae Parker getting traded to the Patriots for a third round pick. Devontae Parker and a fifth round pick for a third round pick in 2023. Um, he's only played 12 games once, I think.
I didn't know it was that bad.
I'm almost positive that's how bad it is. I had him on one league. I was trying to one of the Dark Remains leagues. I have Devontae Parker, and after he got traded, I was trying to trade him for my second round pick back because you have to pay for trading away any future. And I just didn't feel like paying for my
Oh
future.
yeah.
And this guy kept lowballing me so much, I was finally like, screw it. I'd rather pay than deal with you anymore.
Yeah, I kind of like Parker, but I don't know if I like Parker on the Patriots. I like Jacoby Myers a lot. I thought that well, I still think that Jacoby Myers could have a really good year this year, rack up 110 receptions or something like that. So Parker kind
Yeah.
of to me doesn't matter. Like there's not enough volume in the Patriots offense to matter, and Parker's not going to get the targets or enough targets.
So I was completely wrong again about the amount of games that he played. He has played 16 games one time and 15 games one time, but the rest were 10, 11, 13, 14. Highest reception total was 72 in 2019. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, I just looked at that year. It's a pretty good year.
Everything else is under 800 yards, under 5 touchdowns, so four under touchdowns. So, but I mean, that was with whoever was. I mean, it was what Ryan Tannehill for a little bit, and then whoever, and then Tua. I don't know, not that
Yeah,
important. I think it's a pretty much a spot start type of guy if he's on the end
I
of
think
your roster.
there's a Fitzpatrick year in there. I think with Parker,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, wasn't
that
he on
might
the
have been the
Bucks,
best year.
not the Dolphins? Or
I
is he
think he
on
was on
Bucks and the
both.
Dolphins? Okay. Well, I mean, if someone is offering you a late second round pick, which I don't think anyone is, that's a auto accept, right? Just get him off your roster, even for a third round pick, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I have Parker in some spots, and I kind of feel like I need him to potentially start. So it's like one of those wide receiver fives you can actually play. But I think that yeah, from a value standpoint, you should probably be hitting it accept on any pick offer you get.
I mean, he's 29 years old, and the only way that I think he has fantasy relevance that's outside of like a start here and there mid-season when there's injuries that have happened on the team is if the Patriots do not draft a wide receiver. And that could happen, but I kind of feel like they need to draft a wide
Mm,
receiver just
yeah,
because Nelson Aguilar hasn't been working out. So all they really have is Parker and Myers and Bourne, which is kind of
yeah,
shallow.
and then the double tight end.
Yeah,
Um,
if they ever
the
do anything.
reason that Parker was good was because of Fitzpatrick. So
Oh, that
Fitzpatrick
was the Fitz
played
year.
15 games, had 281 fantasy points in Miami 2019, and he didn't start the year playing. So
So
somebody
that
else had it
means that
at the year.
there's almost no chance that Parker has like a stellar year this year because Mac Jones is not going to force the ball to him like that.
Right. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though in his heyday, Parker was like a fast, like I think he ran a 4.44, I believe, or something like that, 4.46. Maybe he's 29 now. I don't think he has that type of speed anymore. I haven't seen him separate like that in a while. But
Yeah. Which brings up another question. Like, why do the Patriots keep trying to acquire older wide receivers?
is it
Like,
because
what
Bill
it
Belichick has dementia?
maybe that's it. Okay, you figured it out. That was quick. All right, next topic.
That was a bad joke. Sorry, Bill. I shouldn't joke about that disease either. But I don't know. I feel like Belichick just keeps. I feel like Belichick's ego is getting in his way with these wide receivers. Like he's a defensive guy and he keeps trying to take shots on all these wide receivers and he's just missing like crazy. Like
Yeah.
Aguilar, Bourne, Parker, Harry. Like how many before you like just
You
realize you
give
can't
up.
get it right?
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be easy to get it right this year though with a first round pick. Like I don't think there's. I mean, I don't think there's many guys that are gonna bust. I think it's gonna be like that's not necessarily like superstar like caliber guys, but I don't think there's gonna be as many busts as people think in the first round. Like years past, like I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but like for a first round pick, some people might consider your boy Will Fuller a bust. Like for being a first round
Yeah.
NFL pick.
Yeah, but he definitely wasn't a bust. Right. Right. Right.
Not gonna answer that. So the next like kind of irrelevant news is Marlon Mack signing with the Texans. I definitely think they're gonna draft a running back still. I don't think. I
I
mean,
kind
I
of
mean,
don't. I think that they won't, and I think it's between Mac, Burkhead, and Royce Freeman for who's going to start the most games in 22. I think that they could probably mix in with each other, but I mean, if you're a rebuilding team, like running back's the last spot, so I don't think they're taking a running back.
and if he is successful, that's kind of crazy. That means that three guys would have come back from Achilles. He has Achilles, right?
Um, yeah, I
Or
don't
am I
know.
just or am I thinking of Foreman? Pretty sure it was Achilles. That
Foreman
that would
was an
mean
Achilles too, but
well, it was Akers and Foreman, I know for sure, and I thought Mac. So if Mac comes back and is successful, I know Foreman wasn't really like successful from a production standpoint, but he looked good when he was filling in last year and kind of switching off with, excuse me, Hilliard. So I mean, three running backs in these recent years came back from Achilles and looked good, which is like unheard of. Well,
yeah,
you said Akers didn't look good, but you're wrong.
you're just wrong. Oh, okay, huh?
So anyway, pertaining to Marlon Mack, this guy that just hit me up on Twitter, I added this in late. If you can see it, he said,
Got it.
I'll shout him out at HC Frost 01. Harley Frost is his name. Marlon Mack got traded for a 23 second in my 12-team Superflex. Way too much, Dynasty. Uh, Early candidate for worst trade of the year. I think we've got a better worst trade of the year coming up pretty quick here in this show sheet. Um, what makes it even worse, you ask? He says in the next part of the tweet thread he gave me.
Oh,
We
that's
have to cut
terrible.
we have to cut down from 24 to 16. It's like that's not even a dynasty league at that point.
Yeah.
Uh, for an 8-round rookie free agent draft, and judging on the guy's roster, he will likely cut back. So he gave away a second for nothing. That's
Here's my
hilarious.
second round pick. Oh wow. And that also makes second rounders worth more because you're probably drafting free agents and stuff if you
Yeah.
cut down to
Yeah.
16.
Sounds like a FFPC league, something
Yeah,
like that.
that's probably right.
I think that's what they do in those, and I think they're like generally shorter rosters, and then they like make you cut down like insane, and you have a kicker that you have to roster also.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
nuts. I haven't played with kickers for like 4 years now. It's glorious. Uh, you got anything else you want to say about Marlon Mack?
No, I think we spent enough time on Marlon Mack.
A Mack truck. Uh, so I want to talk a little bit about Zach Wilson's outlook because it seemed like right when the season ended, people were really down on him, myself included. Everyone was like,
Yeah.
geez, what a bust that guy was or is, you know? And it's not just coming from this guy I think it's like actually a podcast, but I don't know if it's one guy that runs the account. Um, I've seen general sentiment of like positivity for Zach Wilson in the last few months or weeks that people are like
Yeah.
kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
I think it's because people forget. Like people have this like Finding Nemo type memory, and they're like, "What? We're 4 months away from the last time that people saw him play," and so everybody was like, "Well, he was good in college. Yeah, his stats aren't great in year one, but like whatever, he was good in college. That 1 year in college." I'm not buying the Zach Wilson hype that is starting. I was trying to get Wilson for like seconds, and people weren't having it. So I don't think that the Wilson's owners ever really dipped. I think it was just everybody else that didn't like Wilson to start with. Then they started saying like Wilson sucks.
Yeah, I do think that he made some progression towards the end of the year, but it definitely wasn't a good year. So, anyway, this one comes in from at losing sucks, which is a great name, and that's the name of their podcast as well. So at losing sucks on Twitter, and he traded away, I believe it is a super flex league, Will Fuller, Daniel Jones, and the 103 for Zach Wilson, which is why I kind of brought up the 103 discussion, which I believe, if Malik Willis holds, a lot of people are going to be getting Kenneth Walker at 103 if he lands in like a good spot. Or I mean, I
Or the
will,
wide
I will.
receiver one,
Yeah,
whoever it
yeah,
is.
or like a Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave.
One of the Ohio State wide receivers, whichever one.
So,
Um,
I mean,
I
I just want to say
I
real
think
quick. I mentioned this earlier. Like, it's similar to the Davis Mills. Like, I'm just going elsewhere for quarterback, or I'm not having a quarterback, or what be, or like, I'd rather have Daniel Jones.
straight
Not
up.
like 1-to-1. I'd rather have Zach Wilson than Daniel Jones because I think there's more unknown. But
Yeah,
like, I'd much rather have 103 than Zach Wilson from a straight up value perspective. So I think this is an insane, not insane, but it's a bad trade, in my opinion.
yeah. It's like he offered Daniel Jones and Will Fuller, and that's a fair trade. And then the guy rejected, and then he left them on, and then offered 103. So it's like two separate trades that got somehow combined into one. I think it was a mistake. I don't know, because like Will Fuller and Daniel Jones for Zach Wilson, that's like fair. And then 103 for Zach Wilson, like you're still overpaying. So I don't know how you possibly execute this trade. Like that's not how you win in Dynasty. I mean, that's what losing sucks.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. I think that it's not an insanely like hot take to say that Daniel Jones could finish better than Zach Wilson this upcoming year.
Yeah,
I think part of the Zach Wilson hype right now is coming from that trade rumor of them trying to trade for Debo, DK, or AJ Brown, which is probably not going to happen, and likely them drafting a wide receiver at pick 10. Like everyone's mocking a wide receiver to them for the most part. So I think that's kind of hyping them up. And then they're in a good spot too in the early second round to pick up a running back like a Brees Hall or a Kenny Walker. So
yeah.
I think that's kind of
That's
hyping them
my
up.
Kenneth Walker landing spot. I like that
This
one.
this from
The
the real
Jets.
McSpanky that I got down here. I don't know if you took a look at that mock draft he made.
I did.
He's
That
got
was
Kenneth
very
Walker
good.
going to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Brees Hall to the Texans though. That's gross a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even though I feel like
Hurts
they
that
both,
101, huh?
oh, maybe Kenny Walker's the 101 then.
Oh God. Oh.
Probably trade not if I think I said this to in the patrons only. I became a patron of the Dynasty Theory podcast. Uh, if Brees Hall goes to the Texans, I'm probably trying to trade out of the 101, which I think
Yeah.
most people will probably do.
Or they're just taking QB1, whoever QB1 is.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'll do that. I don't think I would.
Yeah.
So then like, I think it was like a tweet thread, not a DM, but we started talking about because I said you'd really take Wilson over 103, and then he's a crazy Wilson guy. So when he started posting these polls, Zach Wilson versus Tua, and it was pretty much 50-50.
Yeah.
And you
No,
can see that
Tua.
check mark
Smash.
there for
Tua.
me on the Tua side. Yeah, yeah. Especially since he has two of the fastest guys in the league and
Yeah.
a good offensive mind. Um, Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson's easy Aaron Rodgers, even though he's 38.
Yeah.
Mac Jones or Zach Wilson? I might have already asked
Mm,
this.
I think I'm still probably Mac Jones, but I think that is the closest of any of them, which is weird because I think it's the furthest one apart.
Yeah, it's 2/3 of the people wanted Zach Wilson, but it's only 138 votes, and it might be his Zach Wilson cult following.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. He's got 60 accounts that are just following him.
yeah. And then it was Zach Wilson versus 103, and 103 won 2/3 to 1/3.
Yeah.
Oh, I put that in the note too. I don't know if this is his cult following of Zach Wilson or what. Uh, Yeah, and like I said, I don't think there's no chance that Zach Wilson gets better. Like I'm willing to be wrong about him. I just have scars from the Jets from recent years, and he did not do well last year, and I'm just unsure. So I'm gonna play the avoid game, kind of
Yeah.
like some of these other situations.
Yeah, I'd rather trade 110, 111 for like Kirk Cousins or something like that.
Yeah,
If I'm
I agree.
trading 110 or 111 for a QB, it's because I'm competing. Otherwise, I'm probably just taking the picks.
So let me ask you this: would you rather have 103 or Kamara?
103
Okay,
pretty
but is
easily
it
to
far
me.
off?
Uh, I guess it's close, but I think that Kamara potentially still gets suspended this year. And I don't know if there's like really something behind that. That's just what I think is going to happen. And I don't even remember what happened. I think he beat somebody up, got like at a club fight.
I could have swore the initial report said that he punched the guy like 8 times, and
Yeah.
then
So that sounds pretty bad. That sounds like suspended to me.
but then like the fantasy footballers were talking about it the other day, and they were like, "Did the charges get dropped?" And they're like, "Did he did something right?" Like they forgot completely. I was like,
Yeah.
How do you forget that he punched someone 8 times?" I mean, and that was just like a report I saw. I don't even know if that's actually true or not. So allegedly punched someone 8 times, but yeah, so that's worrisome. But anyway, I asked that because another losing sucks trade for Zach Wilson. He gave up Fuller, Kamara, Al Nazard, and a 24 first for Zach Wilson in a super flex. I mean, if that was a
So
one QB, if that was a one QB league, that's just insanity. but but I thought you would
on
love that
Alvin
one.
Kamara. Alvin Kamara first. The 4 men each face a felony count of battery that resulted in serious bodily harm and a misdemeanor count of conspiracy to commit battery in connection with the brawl at the Cromwell Casino. And that's dated March 9th. I don't know when the actual incident was. I guess the
And
incident was like early February.
there's cameras everywhere in the casino, so like it's on camera.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure what happened was that dude said something to them, smart ass, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we're four big dudes with the NFL player. We're gonna beat you up," and so they did. And then
Yeah.
that's my guess. Allegedly, that's what happened.
Yeah. So back to the trade, which I kind of interrupted. So Fuller, Lazard, Kamara, 2024 first for just one asset in Zach Wilson, maybe the asset in Zach Wilson. Just kidding. So the best asset, can we agree
Shout
it's
out to
Alan
the
Lazard?
fan.
Best player in the trade, Alan Lazard.
I wish I had a cricket. Oh wait. Oh damn it! I don't have a cricket.
You just were actually silent instead.
yeah. Wait, I think I do. I think I didn't switch it. Yep, I do. I just thought you would love this trade because Fuller and Lazard are in it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty easy to tell which side I'm on. I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't understand.
I don't think he's a bad dynasty player based on some of the other like tweets I've like stuff I've seen him put out. I just think he's too hot, too spicy on Wilson.
Yeah, and like the thing to me is like even if you like Wilson, how you end up with a good team in dynasty is because you find the market values and you take advantage of them.
Yeah, some of the time, or you just draft gems.
We all have different approaches.
Right. So let's just move on to some general trades here. This one was sent to me from Da Steph on Sleeper. He's in one of my leagues. He's a good dude. I enjoy playing with him. He was not involved in this trade, but it's a doozy, and it is a super flex league, I believe. And one side got DJ Moore, Joe Burrow, and Javante Williams, and the other side of the trade was Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Hurts, and Devonta Smith.
So this one's like very easy to me, and I feel like it should be easy to everyone. But now I want to know what side you're on.
That's the Joe Burrow, Javante side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unless Hurts like levels
It's
up
like a
insanely.
it's like a first, a second, and a third in a startup for a second and 2/3 and 1/4, something like that. Like what are we doing? I don't know.
So Javante and Swift pretty close.
Yeah,
Um, you would say probably Deontay and or maybe you would
DJ
say
Moore is
Devon.
pretty close.
Yeah, like either Devonta or Deontay versus DJ Moore is close. So then at that point you're going Hurts and one of those wide receivers for Burrow, and that's just
Smash
huge,
Bro.
huge gap.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it is kind of nice to
Um,
stack Hurts and Smith though, but
KM
not for me.
Giles 21. I know you're listening. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? So next one is Dostef. He was involved in this trade and he acquired CD Lamb. I also believe this is a super flex. Not that it matters that much because there's no quarterback involved, but it matters for the picks involved. He
Yeah,
acquired CD Lamb in the 204 for Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, and the 108.
this is a smash on the CD Lamb side to me. Like the 204, you're still getting a great player in this draft, assuming Superflex. Michael Carter's a huge risk going into the draft, and like Elijah Moore's like got a good opportunity, but he's not a top 2, 3 round starter pick. He's not a 3 first type value guy like CD Lamb is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like that. So you're basically moving down, what is that? 8 picks and giving up Michael Carter to move up to CD Lamb.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to think about like what if
What if the
like
Jets are good?
yeah, what if the not just what if the Jets are good, but like what if Elijah Moore was on the Cowboys and CD Lamb was on the Jets?
Mm.
Like how would that change the value?
That's so interesting because one of the things that has bugged me about Dallas is they don't like hyper target CD Lamb. So I actually wonder, like, if CeeDee Lamb was on the Jets, would he get
What
targeted
if,
more?
it's like you're saying CD Lamb's value might be more if he was on the Jets. That's hilarious. So yeah, that's I think I know it's still up in the air, but I am on the side of that CD Lamb is gonna just explode this year.
Yeah,
I really think so. I mean, I know Dak just throws to the open guy, but at a certain point, Dinkin and Duncan's only gonna get you so far. You gotta start feeding your guy. I
yeah,
don't think Dak's an idiot. So
yeah. CeeDee Lamb, 1,800 yards. What?
let's go. Um, so then I just kind of had this hypothetical landing spot slash like mock draft capital created by at the real McSpanky. Shout out, and I'm gonna give another shout out to the fan Benny Raiders. What's up? And the not the fan Benny D98. Just kidding. What's up, Benny D98? Shout out. Uh,
Thanks for
Malik
listening this
Willis.
far.
Sorry, what was that?
Thanks for listening this long. Hey.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I feel like this was a well structured show. We did our little tangents, but I put a lot of effort into that sheet last night.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we're probably like right on our hour and a half time, which is weird because normally we'd have either show sheet left or we're just bullshitting.
yeah, yeah,
We could still bullshit though.
yeah. Well, we're at 125, so we're gonna just go over this little mock draft capital landing spot thing real quick. And I call it that because it's just the offensive players. It's not like every single pick. So he has 3 first round quarterbacks. Oh, yeah, he has. Oh, so this is why you were talking crap about Corral going to the
This is where
Lions
it was. Yeah. Like that.
and how.
If Matt
So
Corral lasts that long, it's going to be like pick 32. It won't be pick 34 because they would trade up. Someone would trade up.
yeah, you're right. You're right. To get that 5th year option to get him cheaper,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's
Yeah.
going to be 4 years, and then they got to pay him exorbitant amount of
Right.
money if he's good.
Yeah.
Um, he has. Well, anyway, let's say he has Willis going to the Panthers. That's interesting. In which case he'd probably get thrown to the Wolves about week 3, 4, probably, depending on what their
Week one.
schedule comes out as.
Yeah.
Ritter to the Seahawks is interesting
I think
to
that's really
me.
funny. Like Ritter has been rising over the last like 2, 3 weeks, but I don't know how much of that is just because like Matt Corral hasn't taken part in all of the pre-draft stuff because he's hurt, which I would guess he's not even hurt anymore, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I liked Ritter, but it was a little bit concerning that he couldn't like, and understandably so against the Alabama defense. It was a little bit of a downer that he couldn't lift up his team in that playoff game against Alabama. Couldn't do anything.
Yeah, which that feels to me like why Matt Corral should be higher because Matt Corral was able to play well against Alabama. I believe they won last year.
He has Kenny Pickett at pick 16 to the Saints, which is interesting because that makes sense to me now. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That makes that for some reason that just like makes sense to me that he would be like a Saints quarterback. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I actually just assumed that this mock draft was the real draft. In my head, all of these things actually just already happened because they do make a lot of sense. So shout out to the real.
The real McSpanky, you cut out a little bit right there. Um,
No, I said Spanx.
oh, uh, so then he has, like you said, Corral going to the Lions at the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. But I thought this one was really interesting. Sam Howell, late 2nd round to the Steelers, which I don't think either that Sam Howell lasts that long, just because of the upside. Like, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes and didn't play well this last year, but he also had subpar weapons. So we'll see. But I think that the Steelers are definitely an interesting landing spot for Sam Howell. Like that, if he can get it together, that might be a steal in super flex rookie drafts in like the early mid 2nd round if he lasts that long. Either
Yeah,
that,
I think that's right.
either that, or some of these other skill position players are going to get pushed down by him getting drafted in the late, mid late 1st round of rookie drafts. So to me, it's like a win-win this year. I feel
Yeah,
like there's a lot of depth, not necessarily as many superstars as 2023, but a lot of like stars.
yeah. There's like not a good 103, 104, 105 right now, but it feels like there are tons of 108 to 110. Like there's a ton of players worth that type of capital, and it's more than 12. Like going into 204, that's still like a 108 to 110 type guy.
Yeah, and that's why I felt like gross even considering 103 for AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Um, so then for wide receivers, he's got 5 in the 1st round: Wilson, London, Olave, Williams, and Burks, which I think is pretty much like consensus.
Yeah. So based
Um,
on that draft capital and based on the landing spot, so Wilson with the Falcons, London with the Jets, Olave with the Eagles, Williams with the Jameson Williams with the Packers, and then Traylon Burks with the Chiefs. Who's 101 or who's the first wide receiver? Not 101.
that is so tough. Um, I mean, it pains me to say Burks probably, like probably
Yeah.
Burks.
That feels like so weird to say like he was drafted fifth in his class, and there were two wide receivers in the top 10, and you're going to take the guy drafted 30th overall.
I want to say Williams. If Williams was healthy, I would without a doubt say Williams.
Yeah, and
So
it feels like
then,
you can't take Garrett Wilson then first because like it's the Falcons and they're going to be real bad.
yeah, because like if they're not taking a quarterback at 8 and they're taking him, I mean, do they have any other first round picks, or is they just have second round pick after that?
I mean, according to this mock draft that is a real draft, like the Falcons didn't get a quarterback.
Yeah, but like according to this mock draft, the landing spot's not there. But if you know, theoretically, they could get Sam Howell in the second round if he's last into pick
Yeah,
52. So that
right.
might change. If there's some like optimism at the quarterback position for Atlanta, maybe Garrett Wilson. You know, uh,
Yeah,
because
they
he could be a great
have
monster.
the 43rd pick in the second round. Well, overall, and then 58 in the third.
I I really believe that what I said is true about this class being like a lot of depth. Like I don't like you said which one would you take first, but I don't think you're really going wrong with any of those picks. As much as I've
Yeah,
disliked Drake London in the past, like I mean, I just don't think I think he's the bottom for me for sure. Like I would have him below probably Dotson and I mean, how dare you, McSpanky, not even have John Mechie on this list? How dare you?
uh, I think the other part when I was looking at this is Alec Pierce is going to go in the second round.
Yeah, based on
McSpanks
speed.
has him as a third round pick, but I think he's going to be a top 50 pick.
How would you feel if so going into the second round wide receivers, Dotson, Watson, and Sky Moore, and let's just say Alec Pierce goes in the second round too, to the same landing
Yeah,
spot that he listed here. Um,
with the Titans.
Watson to the Commanders. How do you feel about that?
I like that. I like that from an opportunity standpoint. You know, they don't have a locked in wide receiver two, and they have like available targets. The other part of that I like is they haven't signed McLaurin yet. So if McLaurin were to leave, like then Watson can step in and be the one next year potentially. So I like that. Um, Dotson to the Colts, I feel like that's not going to work out. Like he's just going to be running wind sprints. He's just not going to use well. Um, Sky Moore to the Saints. I like Sky Moore a lot. I feel like I flip back and forth between Christian Watson and Sky Moore of which one I like more. But I think year one production might be better for Sky Moore versus year two production. Like Christian Watson maybe becomes like a wide receiver one, at least on his team, and becomes top 24. And then Alec
Given
Pierce to the Titans. If it's the Titans, then I'm like really upset because I feel like that's a low volume offense, and like the draft capital doesn't really matter because then
yeah,
you're behind Robert Woods, you're behind AJ Brown, you're behind Derrick Henry, who's taken the lion's share of touches.
is that how you'd feel about David Bell to the Texans too? Because that's who is at the top of the third round for wide
Yeah,
receiver.
that would be really good. Kind of like you saying, I love the idea of London to the Jets, so I could just fully avoid him. I love the idea of David Bell to the Texans because I could just fully avoid him and then not even feel bad about it.
I think that's a probably a decent like compliment to Cooks though for them NFL wise. So makes sense at least from an NFL standpoint, which is
So
kind
does
of
that
what
make you
you.
more into Davis Mills?
No. I I
Can you
gotta
pause
rewatch
longer
Davis
next time,
Mills.
please?
It was really hard to like watch the Texans last year. Even though
Yeah,
they were better than expected, I just honestly I gotta watch more Davis Mills. I
yeah.
just kind of wrote him off. I
We
wrote him off without like really too much thought
yeah.
because I was just like, God,
So
this
I
guy's
dropped
name.
him. I dropped him in a super flex league when Tyrell Taylor was coming back. I
Yeah.
just said this isn't worth it. Like
Now you could probably get like an early second round pick for him at at
Yeah.
least.
Oops. Oh well.
Oopsies. So the running backs, he doesn't have any first round running backs, which I think at least one of these running backs is going to go in the first round.
If one does,
Um,
it's got to be Brees Hall. I don't think you can take Kenneth Walker the first, and I definitely
Crazier
not
things
Isaiah
have happened.
Spiller. Oh, you mean that time that the Chiefs drafted CEH? Oh,
Yeah, but CEH caught 54 passes his junior year,
yeah.
which I still like. If we're just going off what guys have done in the past, always, why are we even playing this game? Like I hate when people do that. Like people like just quote past stats and say that's the only way to look at this game. It's like then why are we even playing? Like we all know what's gonna happen. Then why are we
Yeah,
playing?
it goes back to those running back ranks. They're all going to be the same as they are. Like the top 24, how they're drafted right now. That's how it is.
Yeah. This so Gosh, it would be so interesting if the Bengals drafted a running back. That would just blow people's minds. Okay, so I really think that the Buccaneers are a candidate to draft Brees Hall at 27.
That would destroy me. I'd be so upset.
Yes.
I'm all in
Yeah.
on Fournette.
Yes.
Fournette and James Conner, two of my most owned running backs, like the best values I see right now.
And then the Arizona Cardinals draft Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. Oh God, be terrible. Don't even say that.
Oh, that's why I sold Leonard Fournette for 205 and 306 in a super flex.
You didn't get enough.
I know that's what John Bauer said too, but I mean, let's look here.
And apparently, you also don't like winning.
Oh, look, this mock draft has Mechie going at 34 to the Lions,
No, I'd be upset with that.
but it's all out of whack. They have Corral in the second round. I'm just trying to see if Arizona has an early second round pick, which they don't.
Yeah,
But
I
then
already knew
again,
that part. You just had to ask. That's part of why I like Connor because they don't have that second round pick.
they do at 55.
I thought you just said they don't have an early round.
Not an early one, but they have a
Oh,
late
but they
second round
have
pick.
one. Yeah, but they don't have an early one. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But that's what I was gonna go back to the 2020 year. Everyone was so hyped on the 2020 class for running backs, which actually kind of fell short now with the Dobbins injury and the Akers injury and CEH sucking. Like
It's
those
really just
guys,
one running back.
yeah. And like, what pick was Jonathan Taylor? He was like a late second round pick, right? So was Dobbins.
Yeah.
Like Javante had and Swift had better draft capital than those guys, which obviously they're like ahead of them in Dynasty right now. But
It's 40 overall. So
oh,
still
so that's
kind of
pretty
early,
high.
but
But I'm just saying, it's not out of the I say realm of possibility too much. It's not out of the possibility realm.
you just
Um,
say that. That's okay.
yeah. So then he has Spiller going to the Cardinals in the third round.
I wouldn't be worried about that at all. I would actually kind of like that because I think Spiller is just not fast enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Spiller
And
would just be like Edmonds part two.
this would crush people. Rashad White going to the Broncos. That would absolutely crush the Rashad White fan club.
Yeah.
And Samir White to the Saints. I kind of like that in the third round.
Yeah, I think that's a good landing spot, especially with the unknown on a Kamara potential suspension. But also, like the rest of my draft kind of makes sense. Like if there's some risk of a suspension, we saw it with the Chiefs in drafting Michael Hardman. Like they will try and cover that gap somehow.
Yeah, yeah. And then
I
I
was
don't even
pulling
really
up
care.
the 2020 draft. So CEH went 32 overall. DeAndre Swift went 35. Jonathan Taylor 41. Then I got to scroll a little bit. Cam Akers was 52. J.K. Dobbins was 55. And then what's funny is like AJ Dillon was 62, which is actually pretty close to J.K. Dobbins from a pick perspective.
Yeah, some might say
Ah,
AJ Dillon's worth more than J.K. Dobbins right now.
oh, God.
That's not true.
Oh,
That's not true. Not yet, at least. Not until like unless it really is bad. That's the only way that's true is if it really is bad, or if Aaron Jones goes down or gets traded somehow. That's the only way, in my
the
opinion.
only way. Yeah.
Well, maybe there's other ways, but I'm just not smart enough to foresee them right now.
Figure them out.
But then he has Trey McBride going to the Bengals. A lot of mouths to feed there. I'm not really like
So much for the Hayden Hurst hype.
for what?
The Hayden
Oh,
Hurst
Hayden
hype.
Hurst. Yeah, sorry, cut out a little bit again. I don't really care about the tight ends this year. Like, I really don't. Like, I'll take Trey McBride at value. I'm not scouting the tight ends too hard. I mean, I did a
I
little bit
actually
of work.
love the tight ends, but I love them in a I'll spend a third round pick on you. Not
Yeah, that's
I
kind of what I
love these
meant.
like Kyle Pitts. Yeah. There's probably like six that I'm willing to spend a third round pick on. If I did to spend a third round pick on. But yeah. Nobody late first, nobody early second.
Most of my like leagues are two tight end. I think 6 out of 10 are two tight end, and I just have my tight ends like figured out. So similar to my QB philosophy. Like I have it figured out. I'm just scouting the running backs and wide receivers. I feel like it's just makes life easier,
Yeah. I
or at
have
least
been
that's what I
punting
tell
tight end in
myself.
pretty much every league. So that's an opportunity for me.
So you're just throwing darts.
Yeah.
All right, you got any other thoughts today, Payson?
Hmm.
K State.
No. Yeah, K State. Go alma mater.
So I am a sucker and got the Matt Waldman RSP again
You
just
are
because
a
I
sucker. Yeah.
I get excited on April 1st because it's like that's why I mean he strategically releases it on that date because there's like nothing going on and you're like, ooh, I
Oh, and
want
you're
to
like,
see
I'm into rookie hype right now. I want to see
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Give me content. Any content.
So can you but with all those clues, can you guess who his QB1 is?
Oh, it's somebody like Carson Strong, isn't it?
No, it's the Kansas State quarterback.
Oh, all those clues. Yeah, it makes so much sense. Now. I don't even
I
remember his
forgot his
name right now.
I forgot his
That's
name.
terrible. I don't get so we don't get
He's
any K State games on TV, so I have not paid enough attention.
Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, that's his name. That you said it,
Guess how
that makes
old he
sense.
is.
26 or something, right? He's older.
25. It's gonna be 25.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Like Brandon Whedon.
Yeah,
The guy that
Oklahoma
played for
State, Brandon Whedon. I
Browns and the
remember that.
Texans. Yeah.
Which Brandon Whedon to who was the other the wide receiver, the guy that flamed out.
Not sure. But
Oh, he
I'm
was
sure you'll
nice.
find it.
I am gonna find it.
I will say
Uh,
when I turned on some Skylar Thompson, he looked all right. And he can run. So maybe that might be like a third, fourth
yeah, well,
round
he pretty much only runs. That's
sleeper. Dude, his passing game looked all right too to me. Like, but it was a small sample that I watched. But um,
you mean when he threw 11 passes?
I mean, okay. So let's say this before we go. What if he goes in like the late second round to like a good landing spot? I mean, what's a
Well,
good
then he's
landing
getting
spot?
drafted over Carson Strong, but it's like 210 to
Pittsburgh.
214 or 212, something like that. Yeah. Justin Blackman is the Oklahoma State wide receiver I was thinking of. Remember that
Oh
name?
yeah,
Blast from the past?
Jacksonville, right?
Yeah.
He was so good in college. I had his card
Yeah.
in Madden Ultimate Team. That card was beast mode. He was really good in Madden. But anyway, we're at an hour and 45 minutes here. So if you got nothing else, I think it's time to.
I mean, I'm looking at the 2012 draft right now. I guess we got nothing else.
Yeah. I think that's it. If you made it this far, we might give you we might dub you the fan numero dos. If you tweet at me and say the fan numero dos, I'll shout you out as that from now on. Whoever
There
you
you
are.
go. Whoever you are, if you made it, congratulations.
Oh yeah. All right. To all my Kenny Walker truthers out there. I will see you next time. And Payson, I should have let you say goodbye. I should have let you say goodbye first.
Kenny Walker is like maybe worth the 108. So that's all I got.
All right. We're out of here. See you guys.
Bye.